A farmer needed an extra hand to help on his farm. One young man came to interview for the job. "What are your qualifications?" the farmer asked. "Well, I can sleep when the wind blows," the young man replied. This simple answer confused the farmer, but he was desperate for help, so the young man was hired. The young man proved to be a diligent worker throughout the harvest season, but the farmer still wondered about the peculiar answer the young man had given. "I can sleep when the wind blows." Autumn ended, and the first cold storm of winter came late one night. The farmer panicked as the winds began to blow. Calling the young man for help, the farmer grabbed his coat, pulled heavy boots on his feet. He was disappointed to find the young man asleep in bed at a time like this. Grudgingly, he ventured out alone, planning to herd all of the animals into the barn and then fix that last hole in the roof. He mumbled about the young man sleeping and was sure all the farm equipment was left in the field, collecting rust from the snow. However, when the farmer reached the barn, all of the animals were tucked safely inside. In fact, clean hay had already been set out for the new day. Not a single hole could be found in the roof, and the tractor was parked safe and dry in the shed. Who did all of this, the farmer wondered, and suddenly he realized what the young man's answer meant. "I can sleep when the wind blows." Like the young man in our story, we can be prepared for the storms in life. We can do things today that will enable us to be ready for the crises in the future. The objective of this presentation is to help you create a family preparedness plan that will enable you to be ready when the storms begin to blow.
Depending on the size of the disaster, the emergency and the rescue people are out initially to the most critical emergencies. And if you're in your home or you're forced to go to a shelter or what have you, if there's a shelter available, a shelter takes a few hours to get in place too, then you're on your own if you're not hurt. Because it does take 72 hours or 3 days before people can get help to you. And the biggest thing that they did not have stored down there, which really hurt them, was water. There was a lady who needed water for formula for her baby, and it went for $32 a gallon.
More important, simple steps taken in response to warnings can save some lives. Parents can talk to their children and their children's teachers about family contingency plans.
For a long time now, government authorities and emergency service personnel and many religious leaders have been telling us and warning us that we need to be better prepared for emergencies. At some point in all of our lives, we will face personal tragedy or even widespread disaster that will directly affect us. As many authorities have pointed out, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So let's resolve to prepare today, to take the suggestions presented here and act upon them now. We can make preparedness a part of our everyday life, and if we do, we will come to understand a wise bit of counsel given to us many, many years ago. If ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. As you begin to create your family preparedness plan, gather your family, your roommates, or your closest companions and include them in your preparations. Help them envision what could happen and then plan out steps to prepare yourselves. In fact, let's start right now. Let's explore some of the basic principles of preparedness and some of the steps necessary to put them into action. One of the most important principles to you and your family in the event of an emergency is that of self-reliance. We know that during any emergency and most disaster situations, there is a lag time between the time of the emergency and the time when relief agencies can get help to the victims. This lag time can be anywhere from hours to days to even weeks, but the most common time lag is about 3 to 5 days. That's why emergency officials continually cite the wisdom in becoming self-reliant through the use of what has come to be known as the 72-hour kit. In an article in the Daily Herald, a Utah State emergency management official stated, "A 72-hour response time is just about what it takes for emergency workers to assess and meet every victim's needs. After a quake, it is 3 days before help may arrive and things can start getting back to normal. And my confidence in this time period has been bolstered." The first step in your family preparedness plan is to create a good 72-hour kit that will provide for all of your basic needs, enabling you to be self-reliant for a 3-day period of time. It's as though you're preparing for a campout for 3 days and 3 nights. You need to select items that can be stored for at least a year and are lightweight, so that you can evacuate your home if necessary. The following list can be used as you assess your family's specific needs. You'll need food and water, equipment to provide heat and light, shelter, bedding, clothing, communications items, tools, first aid and medications, personal hygiene items, important documents, and some extra cash. We'll go over each of these categories to show you some of the items we found to be useful in this type of kit. Let's start with food and water.
Water is one of, if not the, most important element in your 72-hour kit. There are a variety of products available for storing water, and some are more suited to 72-hour kits than others. Some excellent ways for storing water are the prepackaged water pouches and aqua blocks. These have an excellent storage life, pack easily, and are sterile so they can be used in first aid applications as well. 2-liter pop bottles can be rinsed and filled with water for your kit, but this water needs to be rotated more frequently, and no matter how well you clean the bottle, it will still retain the flavor of the original contents. One of the best ways of storing water is the 5-gallon metallized mylar bag. These bags inhibit bacterial growth by being light-proof, and they come from the factory spore-free. The bag is protected by a 350-pound crush-weight box, and some of these boxes even convert into portable toilets. This type of water storage provides enough water for 2 people for 3 days. A means of water purification is also important in the event that your water supply should run low. It should be capable of removing or killing all forms of harmful bacteria. Food needs can vary based on where the kit is intended to be used. Some of the best foods for use in a 72-hour kit are those that have been designed for the armed forces. These include the high-calorie food or ration bars, which are not sensitive to extremes of heat or cold, but lack the familiar look and taste of our everyday meals. Or the MRE meals, which are ready to eat right out of the pouch. MREs, or meals ready to eat, have a shelf life of approximately 5 to 7 years. They come in a variety of entrees and have all the moisture content intact within the pouch. They can be eaten hot or cold and don't require a can opener. The entrees are familiar foods such as chicken stew or spaghetti, and therefore bring an element of normalcy to any emergency situation.
Heat and light.
Did you know that a single match could make all the difference between survival and death? Warmth is especially important because of the dangers of hypothermia, a condition where the body's core temperature sinks too low and the brain and vital organs stop working. Every 72-hour kit should have lots of warming equipment like these warm packs that will keep fingers and toes warm, even in severe weather. Candles, blankets, even a camp heater would be nice.
In most emergency situations, the loss of utilities is quite a common occurrence. That's why it makes good sense to have some sort of portable lighting system in your emergency preparations. The chemical light stick, for example, makes an excellent source of portable light. They're safe, non-toxic, they have an excellent shelf life, and it makes a good source of light in case you suspect a gas leak inside your home. And they come in several colors. It also makes a great idea to have a good flashlight on hand and also store plenty of batteries and extra light bulbs as well.
If you had to leave your home in a moment's notice, you would probably be very grateful that you had in your 72-hour kit reliable shelter, bedding, and extra clothing.
Your shelter could run the spectrum from the most elaborate tent on the market to a plastic poncho. Emergency or rescue blankets that have the metallized liner will retain up to 90% of your radiant body heat and provide a light, effective means of insulation. A good sleeping bag is probably your best investment in providing insulation from cold. A synthetic fill material such as holofill or qualifill will retain much of its loft or insulating value even when it's wet. This may be important in an emergency situation and therefore may be your best option in sleeping bag insulations. For clothing, many of the best insulators are the synthetic fabrics such as polyester or polypropylene and good old-fashioned wool. Cotton is a cooling fabric and should not be used as insulation, especially if it gets wet. So when you're picking clothing for your kits, remember to find fabrics that dry quickly and retain loft or insulating value even when wet.
Can you imagine how terrible it would be to go without any information during an emergency? Some simple communications gear would certainly be needed in a good kit.
An AM/FM radio is an essential item in your kit. This one runs on batteries, and this one has some additional power sources, a solar cell on top, and a hand crank generator on the side. Having a radio such as these in your kit ensures that you will always have emergency broadcast information during a crisis. Signaling devices such as this whistle could be used if you were stranded without help.
Some tools would also be helpful in an emergency.
Look at how many useful tools there are in this inexpensive pocket knife. A small trowel or shovel could be used to dig out a solar still or camp latrine. Some nylon cord could be used to help dry out wet clothing and to lash together some handy camp gadgets. A pry bar could be used to escape from a house that has become unstable during an earthquake or other natural disaster. A variety of other hand tools might be needed. Choose tools that have a variety of uses to conserve weight and space in your kit.
A first aid kit and personal medications are the next items to include in your emergency supplies. When it comes to first aid, all of the supplies in the world will do you no good if you don't know how to use them.
So first and foremost, get some training. This is generally available through your local Red Cross, hospitals, or fire department. Then, armed with this knowledge, You can be a help to those around you. Basic supplies should include assorted bandages, dressings, and ointments. Pain relief tablets, splints, and compresses are also excellent to have on hand. You can increase these types of supplies as your level of knowledge and expertise increases.
Let me tell you, coming from a family of 10 daughters, toiletries and personal hygiene items would be most important during a 3-day period away from the comforts of home.
You know that in emergency preparedness, this is an item that's often overlooked but really ought to be addressed. In your 72-hour kit, you'll want to include such personal hygiene products as toothpaste and toothbrushes, razors and shaving cream, shampoo and soap, and toilet tissue, diapers and wipes for the infants, and feminine hygiene products as well. You'll also want to include some sort of portable toilet. The water sanitation kit that we talked about earlier is an excellent means of providing for this need.
Important documents.
Certified copies of deeds and titles to property, insurance papers, wills and trusts, a medical history for each member of the family, plus important personal papers, family photographs, and other irreplaceable documents. These items should be kept in waterproof containers such as this Ziploc bag and stored in or near your 72-hour kit.
And a little money could be important.
And when we say money, we don't mean keep it in your automated teller machine.
In the event of a general disaster, it may be cash and carry for a while. And as we've learned from the recent snowstorms on the East Coast, the banks may not have electricity either. So keep a minimum of $20 in small bills in your 72-hour kit. Payphones are some of the first phones working after a general disaster, so keep plenty of change in your kit as well, just to let Grandma know you and the kids are okay.
With all these supplies collected and put into a suitable container, you've made an important step toward becoming more self-reliant. You can store your 72-hour kit near an exit from your home so that you can grab it on your way out the door. The second principle that we're going to concentrate on in this presentation is adaptability. We are faced with new situations and new problems all the time. Our families grow, we move from one city to another, our economy fluctuates, we go on vacation, we eventually become grandparents. Some of these changes are gradual, some are instantaneous. We need to be sure that we are constantly reviewing, adapting, and updating our preparedness plans to fit our changing circumstances. After you have prepared your 72-hour kit, another important step in your family's preparedness plan is to start looking for ways to increase the safety of your home. Especially as we redecorate, move to a new home, or make structural changes to the home we now live in, many disasters could be avoided completely or the risk greatly reduced with some additional planning and thought. The first thing we need to do is identify key danger zones in the home. Then we'll work at making it safer. When an automobile window breaks, the safety glass crumbles into 1,000 pieces, reducing the risk of flying shards of sharp glass that could cut or disfigure someone. But in the home, we don't usually find safety glass, and when glass breaks, it can be very dangerous. Make sure that beds are not located under windows that could break during an earthquake or other house shifting disaster. Heavy mirrors or artwork should not hang over beds either because of this hazard. Another good suggestion would be to keep a pair of sturdy work gloves and shoes next to each bed, so that when you awaken to sounds of rumbling and breaking glass, you can make it to the children's room without cutting your hands and feet. Also, keep a fully charged flashlight in your nightstand or by your bed in case the power goes out during the crises. This rechargeable light is unique because you store it plugged into the wall, and when the power is cut, it automatically lights up, fully charged and ready to use. One appliance of particular concern is the water heater. In most earthquake states, the building code now requires water heaters to be braced or secured to wall studs so they don't fall over during the shaking. This is important because a water heater has gas or electricity and water lines running to it, and these utility lines will often break or rupture if the heater shifts or tips. If you have a handyman living at home, he can probably check this out and secure the heater. Or you could always call a professional for some help to make sure it is up to the building code standards. During some emergencies, the gas lines in your home may break or leak when shifted. Your main gas line coming into your home has a valve usually placed next to the meter that can be shut off in case of an emergency. Natural gas that is piped into homes has a rotten egg odor that the gas company adds to the gas so that you can notice if there is a leak. If you can smell this odor following a disaster, then it would be wise to shut off the gas until a professional can come out and inspect your lines and rectify the problem. You should attach a non-sparking wrench like this one near the main valve so that you don't have to go searching for a wrench that fits during an emergency. It is often a good idea to teach each member of the family how to shut off the gas, water, and electricity. If they are home when the disaster strikes, they can take care of some of these basics and minimize the damage that could occur if they had not been trained. As everyone is learning how to shut off these utilities, make sure that you inspect the valves or switches of each utility to make sure that they are accessible and in good repair. Sometimes, especially with older homes, trees or shrubbery may block access to the valves, and it is a good thing to discover this now and take care of the problem rather than wait till disaster strikes. The main water valve is usually near the water meter on the outside of the home. Make sure that you have a wrench that fits, and then keep it in a specific place so that you can get to it quick if you need to. Electrical problems during an emergency can be as simple as a blackout, which can be solved by having a backup source of light that also provides warmth, like this kerosene Aladdin lamp. While other electrical problems may be as complex as an electrical fire burning in the walls of your home. You can do a few things right now that can help minimize the risks of electrical problems during an emergency. First of all, learn how to shut off the electricity to your house with the main switch and the circuit breakers or fuses in your main electrical panel. Label all of the circuits in the panel so that you can tell which switch controls which circuits in your home. Second, always be sure that all repairs or additions to your electrical system are done according to your local building codes by a knowledgeable repairman or contractor. Finally, make sure that appliances in your home are UL approved so that they do not overload your system or malfunction because of poor engineering and inadequate testing. Even with these precautions, it would still be wise to include some fire extinguishers in strategic locations throughout your home and garage. Make sure the extinguishers are rated for all types of fires, electrical, gas or grease, and building materials like wood and floor coverings. Fire is one of the most dreaded disasters that occur, and yet it is also the most common. Be sure to follow local fire codes. They have been developed for your safety. All bedrooms should have working smoke detectors. Furnace rooms should too. Don't overload your electrical circuits and check for frayed cords or clusters of appliances, all using the same outlet. Check your furnace room regularly. Make sure you have at least 3 feet of clearance from combustible materials surrounding your furnace and water heater. Don't store old paint, varnishes, thinner, or other petroleum-based products in open containers that don't have secure seals in place. Throw away old cloths and rags used in painting and refinishing as soon as you're done with them. Don't store large amounts of combustible fuels like gasoline or white gas for camping stoves. With any fuels that you do store, be sure to keep them in a ventilated area in well-marked containers. As you make your home safer from these potential disasters, you will discover other potential hazards that may be unique to your own home. As your circumstances change, as you see new risks surface, continue to be safety conscious and remember to continually adapt your family's preparedness plans as these changes occur. Another important step in your family preparedness plan is to develop an emergency evacuation plan for your home. Your evacuation plan can be made by following these 4 recommendations and then adapting them to your personal situation.
To start, produce a map of your home labeling all of the rooms and showing where each member of your family sleeps at night. The next step is to label every exit in the home, including doors, windows, and hallways. Then mark the primary escape route from each room. Next, you would need to identify and mark the secondary escape route in each of those same rooms. The final step is to decide on a safe meeting place outside of your home where the family can get together and everyone can be accounted for following an evacuation.
Once you have designed your emergency evacuation plan, practice it with your family. Time yourselves to see if you can improve on the effectiveness of your plan as you become used to it. Remember to include the youngest members of your household and be aware of their special needs. These drills should be a family event where everyone participates and learns to cooperate. The next important step in your family preparedness plan is to prepare an emergency communications chart. To do this, you'll need to prepare 2 lists of people to contact with their phone numbers and addresses.
This chart should be kept near your phone and include the following list of emergency numbers: Fire Department, Police, Search and Rescue Squad, Ambulance Company, Doctor, Civil Defense Office, Poison Control, and any other numbers of emergency service organizations that you might need to contact in your area. The second list you should make is of your family and friends that would be concerned about you in an emergency. It would be wise to designate an out-of-state relative as your contact person in case you are separated from your family and friends during a disaster. In most emergencies, the local lines are tied up and need to be used by emergency service professionals. But lines going out of the affected area can often be used and would help you establish contact with your family. You might also want to find a local ham radio operator that could bypass busy telephone lines in an emergency and help you contact your out-of-state contact person if you couldn't get through on the telephone.
All of these plans can be more elaborate with time and more consideration. The important thing is to start now with the basics, then update, expand, and adapt your plans as you're able to in the future. As you progress beyond the basics of preparedness, you will begin to realize there are many preparations your family needs to make to be ready for emergencies. This recognition may lead you to feel a bit overwhelmed. The third principle of preparedness is designed to help you get beyond these overwhelming sensations. It is the principle of step-by-step progress, which means to improve your preparedness efforts a little bit at a time, each day, week, and month. Following this step-by-step principle will help you prepare in a spirit of peace and calm, and never in a panic. Begin by identifying the different scenarios specific to your area where preparedness efforts would be helpful. Certain areas are prone to earthquakes, floods, or wildfires, while others might be more likely to experience tidal waves or hurricanes. You can be pretty sure that in Kansas you'll be more concerned about tornadoes than would people living in Alaska. People in Alaska would be more worried about heavy snowstorms than people living in New Mexico. Other scenarios might include civil unrest, war, nuclear accidents, or even volcanic activity. Lightning strikes can be hazardous too. Some concerns might be more personal, such as a loss of employment, a disabling injury, or events that just make it harder to do things in the normal way, like a road washed out. Once you have made your list, select the scenario that is most likely to occur and list out ways that it might affect your family. Then, make a checklist of things you can do to minimize the risks. Some of these things may have been discussed in this presentation. Others will be unique to your area or situation. Once your checklist is prepared, you can go to work on the list. Set a goal for completion of the items on your list, and when you finish, celebrate. Then review your list of scenarios and begin again. This family preparedness plan is yours to adapt and improve as you follow the principles and steps we have outlined here. We look forward to sharing more ideas and information with you that go beyond the basics we've discussed in this presentation. Important topics such as food preparation and storage, outdoor survival skills, more detailed information on water purification and storage are planned for future productions. Thank you for watching and for listening, and more importantly for preparing, so that you'll be ready when the winds begin to blow. We would like to express our appreciation to the following people and organizations for making this presentation possible. If you would like to receive more information on the suggestions and products presented in this video, please contact Emergency Essentials. We would be happy to serve you.